Hello, welcome to Chess with JM. In this lesson, we'll talk about the king's move and check. Okay, if you've not checked out the other or previous lessons, please do that so that I can understand what this lesson is talking about. Okay, so we'll have the white king, and then I want to show you or explain to you how the king moves. The king actually moves one step around itself. Okay, so let's take a look at this now. So to do that, just a step around itself. So the king can actually move on every part of the board, but it's just one step. One thing you can use to remember that is one step at a time. I don't know if that makes sense to you. So same thing applies here. This king can go to this point, go to this point, this point, this point, this point, this point, but then it cannot go to this point as well. But then it cannot go to this point because there's a piece here. I don't know if you get. If we didn't have this black piece here, then it can comfortably go to that part. So let's get on it. So watch these blue spots. Can you see the blue spots? So you can see that at this point, okay, you can see that the king can go behind like every part of this place, which is this point. Sorry, the king can go to this point. Just want to show you something now, but cannot go to this other end, cannot go to this place. The king cannot go here, the king cannot swag here, and the king cannot also go to this point. Why? Because you have the queen. The king cannot jump into this place because you have the queen posing a threat on this very place. So I don't know if this makes sense to you. Okay, so watch this. Let's play as black. So watch this. If the king decides to move to this point, watch. Let's go back. Remember, the king can move one side. So assuming the king decides to move to this point, and then white chooses to play. So I want to explain check to you now. If white chooses to play, and the queen, remember the queen can go all the way vertical, provided there is no piece blocking on her part. Now can also go diagonal. Let's take it again so that I can understand. So all the way vertical, all the way horizontal, but cannot cross this point because you see the king is here. So let me just stop it at the point it can go to. So then here, and I swear here. Now the reason it can go to this point only is simply because you have some piece blocking the path. But if you watch on this F file, you can actually extend all the way to F8 because there's no piece on that file. But then on the point F8. But if you watch the point F2 at this point, now if you watch F2, this very point, the queen cannot come back because you have a pawn on that point. So if you watch this point, the king is here, and then this point, that's the end of the board. So let's play as white. Now if white decides to play at this point, now watch something. Now white is doing something. White is checking. The right word I can use to explain to you is attack. So the white is posing a threat or attacking the black's king. And because it's attacking the black king, as a player in chess, you can't do any other thing. You have to get your king into safety. And when on check, there are three things you can do, only three things. One is that you have to capture that piece that is putting you on check. You just like somebody threatening your kingdom. What you simply do is that you have to eliminate that person. You have to kill that person. So I will use the word eliminate. So either you eliminate that person who is posing a threat to your kingdom, but most times you cannot be able to do that. So for instance, now at this point, this rook, since it's black's turn to play, can, because rook moves vertical and then horizontal. So let's do it again. So the rook can actually come to this point, and go through all the way down here and then stop here. So let's do this. So it's either we can use this rook to block, which means taking this rook to e5. Watch. So if this rook is now on the e5, the rook is now the person who is laying down his life for the king. But then let's look at the other thing we can do. So remember, the queen is attacking the king, which means checking the king. So what simply mean? What simply we can eliminate this queen. You see, right now we have eliminated the queen, which means we use the method which I call elimination. So now we have eliminated or killed the traitor, and now we are threatening their own king. So what happens, because now I say black is at the part of the king. So how can you put a king on check? You can put a king on check when you go to their path. So simply means if I'm using a knight, I have to make sure that the knight's move or the knight's path falls at the point where you have the king. Or if I'm using a bishop, the bishop diagonals have to fall at the diagonals of the king as well. So now you're not posing a check on the white king. So what do? We can simply do what? Either eliminate, block, or escape. So but right here we can actually eliminate, and we've eliminated this. I don't know if it makes sense to you. Okay, so let's take everything again, go back. Now another thing we can do is that watch this. So assuming is okay, let's say okay, assuming it's white's turn to play, let's play white again. Now you have the queen, and the queen checks the king. Remember, I've taught you about elimination. So what you simply do, you can eliminate the piece. But now let's block. You see, I'm using the bishop to block. So what simply happened is that I've protected my kingdom by protecting my king, so I can block. So right now the queen is no longer getting to the point where I have my king. So my king is safe. It's not on the path of the queen anymore. I don't know if it makes sense. So this is another method you can use to keep your king safe, because whatever you're doing in this game, once they capture your king, or once your king cannot go to a safe place again, then the game is done. Okay, so that's just another method, you see. Okay, and then finally, whenever the king is okay, let's say assuming this person blocks and I capture and the king is still on check. Now look at something you can do. Now remember, we can actually use this rook to capture the queen, but I don't want to do that, so I can explain this to you for the purpose of this lesson. And I will play a game with you. So I will have a game, I will play a game, and I will record that game and explain it in detail to you. So even if you don't get this thing clearly, just follow closely, and then I will have games, full games played that will explain the whole concept, that will put everything together. I don't know if you get that. Will give you a holistic perspective about everything I've explained thus far. So just stay patient and make sure you continue. Okay, right now, if the queen still poses another threat on the king, the only thing the king can do right now is to simply do what? Escape. So the king can actually run to safety, and you see the queen cannot actually have attack him again. And then if we're assuming now we have this rook attacking again, which is check, the king can still run. So you can actually take your king to safety, like run away, or you eliminate the traitor, or then you can shield. What do I mean by shield? You block. So, and I've explained all those things using this instance. So just take it easy. In the next lesson, we're playing our first game. But before our first game, we'll talk about checkmate. So after checkmate, we'll play our first game, and you will see all these things come together. So thank you and have a nice time.